Hey everybody, this is Ashley McCracken, and I'm going to start off group 3 talking about applications of artificial intelligence in diabetes treatment and management through use of an artificial pancreas system. A little bit of background, diabetes is a disease that affects millions of people in the United States and across the world, half of which do not know that they have diabetes. There are two common forms, but the biggest theme here is that both is an issue with insulin. And what insulin does, it's essentially a lock that helps open the door to pull your sugar into your cells. The cost of management of diabetes is a large healthcare burden due to the number of patients that are diagnosed with this disease. It is higher in the elderly, and prescriptions are very costly. If left untreated, it has several serious health complications, and this has to do with vasculature issues causing kidney failure, heart disease, stroke, loss of limbs, and potentially blindness.
Hi, everyone. This is Dana Lang. So in addition to what Ashley was saying about the health risks of diabetes, it also requires careful monitoring and routine management on an ongoing basis. According to one study, 18% of patients spent up to 10 hours a week on diabetes-related tasks. Other common impacts on lifestyle that patients are familiar with include sleep interruptions, a specific diet, and frequent medical appointments that can lead to increased health expenditures and associated anxiety.
Current AI technology can be broken down into three different types: hardware, software, and service. Within these categorizations, there are numerous technologies, but four of the leading types are natural language processing, context-aware processing, deep learning, and querying method. Now, with a rapidly advancing technology like AI, there are more that are coming to fruition, but these are the leading four out of the group. Additional applications would be robot-assisted surgery, empowered diagnosis, dosage error, data-driven management, population health analytics, and drug discovery. That being said, there are a lot of diverse applications based on these types and technologies. An interesting note, though, is that between context-aware processing and deep learning applied through data management, a trend in the industry is that many interconnected AI-empowered devices, specifically for diabetes management, are coming to the forefront of technological innovation. AI applications in healthcare are not without its challenges. For as much opportunity as AI presents, it also has some significant challenges. From a technological standpoint, architecture development still needs to take place for it to be more widely adopted in healthcare settings. Additionally, concerns around cybersecurity and making improvements in its accuracy in both analytics and modeling, as well as eliminating algorithmic bias, are still obstacles that AI developers will need to overcome. In a more complex way, also, ethical considerations, regulatory requirements, and some of the human barriers to adoption still need to be considered. Understanding some of the ethical considerations around using patient data and making sure that there is appropriate privacy to those patients is one ethical consideration. Additionally, overall regulatory governance over AI applications as medical device technologies is a continuing complex issue across the international markets. Finally, there's an element just in natural human hesitancy to adopt more complex technological advancements like AI until the wide variety of people have a better understanding of what it is and how it's applied. With these in mind, I think AI still has a lot of promise, but it has some significant challenges before widespread adoption.
Thanks, Jason. Now for the stakeholder analysis, providers and regulatory agencies have both high power and high interest with regards to digital innovations such as the artificial pancreas. Physicians, with their prescriptive authority and the diagnostic capability, have a strong lobbying presence with regards to regulations. And nurses and pharmacists also have a stake. Regarding inpatient nurses, for example, nurses have to contend with logistics of navigating different brands, different models, different wear and tear of these sorts of devices during a patient's inpatient stay. Should devices continue to be used within the hospital during the patient's stay, or should they be discontinued? The hospital would have to contend with liability waivers and other issues. Pharmacists would benefit from continuous glucose monitoring real-time data, as they would gain a better insight into the patient's care. And also, this would empower pharmacists to be able to make better recommendations regarding medication therapy management. While providers generally believe that this innovation would help improve their care, they differ in opinion with regards to future research. A majority of providers provided their input in a Agency of Healthcare Quality and Research study, and they believe that children and adolescents with type 1 diabetes specifically would benefit the most from future research into the artificial pancreas. However, respondents did not say elderly or adult patients would benefit as much. Now, regulatory agencies have to contend with challenges such as cybersecurity, patient privacy issues. Some politicians have called for a U.S. Digital Privacy Agency, which would be a federal agency that oversees issues related to cybersecurity. Whenever you have mobile wireless technologies or cloud-based technologies that house sensitive patient information, these are always big concerns, and businesses that are developing these products should keep that in mind. Now, introducing the artificial pancreas, essentially you have a continuous glucose monitoring here, and the sensor is placed under the skin, which transmits data real time to a receiver. Now, the receiver translates any sort of blood sugar data to a mobile device, perhaps a cell phone, and then the cell phone uses the algorithm to predict and calculate a suggested insulin dose. And then that insulin dose is transmitted to a insulin pump that is attached to the patient, and then the dose can be delivered automatically. So this really takes the guesswork out of the calculation and helps benefits the patients in providing real-time assessments and delivery of medication to the patient.
So through the use of artificial intelligence with this device, it releases much of the burden that originally fell on the patients to consistently monitor their glucose levels. This results in more time back for that patient to live a higher quality of life with less interruptions from the disease. For providers, it empowers the patient to play a more active role in their disease management, and so it could reduce the amount of needed medical appointments, frees up the provider to take on more patients, and reduce wait times associated with that. Additionally, having consistent access to the patient's health data generated from the device can reduce medication and dosing errors and better enable the provider to draw conclusions on best practice strategies that can be shared within the field and increase innovation. So all of these factors taken together leads to impacts that benefit both groups that you can see here on the screen: cost savings, a shortage in provider reduction, and going back, all of these factors taken together lead to impacts that positively benefit both groups, like cost savings, more overall efficiency in the care process, and a reduction in the workforce shortage. Next slide.
So based on the clinical benefits and stakeholder interest in the technology, we examined the market impact of introducing the artificial pancreas. Patients will readily adopt a technology that offers many benefits over current treatments. As Dana mentioned, they no longer have to finger stick blood sugar readings and compute how much insulin to dose. The number of Americans with diagnosed diabetes is projected to increase to 29 million in 2050, which poses a growing burden on the healthcare system and community. As such, the FDA Breakthrough Device Program was developed to help patients receive more timely access to breakthrough technologies that have the potential to provide more effective treatment or for diagnosis of life-threatening or debilitating diseases. Under the program, the FDA provided priority review and fast-tracked the commercialization approval for artificial pancreas. Anticipating that insurance will cover the device, the switching costs are low. The device can be implanted at a doctor's visit and requires little education and training due to how intuitive the device is. Next slide. So speaking of cost, rising healthcare costs is a forefront issue. Today, 1 in 7 healthcare dollars is spent to care for people with diabetes and costs America $327 billion per year. Fortunately, the artificial pancreas is estimated to result in cost savings. Researchers project a total savings of $937 million for Medicare over 25 years. Saving a little under $1 billion might not seem like a big dent, but keep in mind that these savings are accrued over a relatively small subpopulation of beneficiaries, such as a type 1 diabetes patient. By avoiding episodes of hypoglycemia, it reduces the stress and demand for emergency care services and reduces short-term related spending. Additionally, the Medicare technology can avoid type 1 associated complications such as blindness, end-stage renal kidney disease, and stroke, all of which involve long-term costs. So, adoption of the artificial pancreas would slow or stop the progression of diabetes complications while simultaneously reducing spend on expensive complications.
Thanks, Catherine. So I'm going to sum this up. As we've heard today, there's a large number of individuals that are affected by diabetes, which has a dramatic impact on quality of life if untreated and can lead to major health complications. The industry stakeholders include providers and regulatory agencies, and the current technology is limited due to its lack of interconnectivity. New technology allows for monitoring and management, and this is in the artificial external pancreas system. This is a disruptive innovator. It provides cost savings and improved quality of life for our patients and is a great example of business with humanity in mind.